Along with our chief guest, we can see Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Sri Srinivas Katikithala, and we can also see Dr. Debolina Kundu, Director, NIUA, present along with the chief guest. So before we formally begin, once again, it is to apprise all that we request you to kindly please remain seated during the proceedings unless it is absolutely necessary. Also, all sessions of today's Golden Jubilee celebrations are being recorded and live streamed on YouTube, enabling a wider community of urban practitioners, scholars, and stakeholders to participate virtually in this landmark event. We encourage everyone to kindly actively engage with the discussions throughout the day, and also please keep your mobile phones on the silent mode to maintain the decorum of the meeting. Thank you very much, and please take your seats. During the breaks, we request and encourage all participants to take a round of the exhibition, which is just behind this plenary hall in front of the VIP dining area. I repeat, we encourage and request all participants to kindly please visit the exhibition during networking break sessions. Exhibition is right behind this plenary hall in front of the dining area, the VIP dining area. For the convocation ceremony, we request all cohorts to kindly be seated according to the arrangements which have been specially made for the seating. We request you to kindly be seated according to the designated area so that while the announcement is being made, we can be very quick in joining on stage and being with the chief guest here. We request everyone to kindly take your seats, and for the cohorts, please be seated according to the arrangements which have been specially made. Thank you. We request all participants to please put your mobile phones on the silent mode, please. This is to maintain the sanctity and decorum of the program that we have gathered here for. The speakers get distracted when mobile phones are on the ringing mode. May I please once request all the participants to please put your phones on the silent mode. Thank you. We will be joined by our Honorable Chief Guest soon in a few moments. We request everyone to quickly please take your seats, especially the ones who are standing in the aisle areas. We request you to please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by our Chief Guest, Dr. P.K. Mishra, Principal Secretary to the Honorable Prime Minister. Let's have a huge round of applause as we welcome our Chief Guest for the day. We're also joined by Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Shri Srinivas Katekathala. जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत. Srimati D. Thara, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Shri Satinder Pal Singh, Vice President NIUA and Additional Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And Dr. Debolina Kundu, Director NIUA. Sabhi ka swagat. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to the Golden Jubilee celebrations of National Institute of Urban Affairs, NIUA. As we commence this auspicious celebration, let us invoke the timeless wisdom of our ancient scriptures. A no bhadra kratvo yantu vishwataha. From the Rig Veda, as they say, may noble thoughts come to us from all directions. May today's deliberations bring together the finest ideas, experiences, and innovations, inspiring new pathways for the advancement of our cities and communities. In Indian tradition, as we all know, every auspicious beginning is marked by the lighting of the ceremonial lamp, which symbolizes knowledge, hope, wisdom, and enlightenment. Asto ma sadgamaya, tamso ma jyotirgamaya. May I please request Dr. P.K. Mishra and our other distinguished dignitaries seated on the dais to kindly light the ceremonial lamp and begin the proceedings for the day, please. Sir. करतल ध्वनि से आइए हम सब लोग भी जुड़ जाते हैं दीप प्रज्वलन के इस शुभारंभ में. Thank you. As the sacred flame illuminates this hall, may it also illuminate our collective resolve to create cities that are vibrant, resilient, and sustainable. May I please request Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Shri Srinivas Katekathala ji, to please welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Shri P.K. Mishra ji, Principal Secretary to the Honorable Prime Minister. हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय का अब हम स्वागत करेंगे. बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन. पुनः बहुत बहुत स्वागत. It is now my privilege to invite Shri Satinder Pal Singh ji, Vice President NIUA and Additional Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, to please present the welcome address now. Please join hands as we welcome Shri Satinder Pal Singh ji.
Esteemed dignitaries on the dais, Excellencies, distinguished guests, senior government officers, representatives of urban local bodies, development partners, members of academia and civil society, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to welcome each one of you to the Golden Jubilee celebrations of the National Institute of Urban Affairs. 50 years is a significant milestone for any institution. For NIUA, it is an occasion that deserves genuine celebration, not simply because of the years that have passed, but because of the work that has filled them. For the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, NIUA has been something more than an institution under its administrative ambit. It has been a trusted partner in building knowledge, strengthening capacities, and connecting research with the realities of policy and governance. That kind of partnership is harder to build than it appears. Urban challenges do not arrive in neat categories. They are complex, interconnected, and often urgent. An institution that can work across disciplines, across levels of government, and across the gap between evidence and decision making is genuinely valuable. NIUA has been that institution for the ministry and for urban India more broadly. India is in the middle of one of the most consequential urban transitions in the world. The scale is extraordinary and the pace is accelerating. And the decisions being made now on infrastructure, on governance, climate resilience, housing, and service delivery will shape the quality of life of hundreds of millions of people for generations to come. The vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047 places cities at the heart of national development. And this is not simply an aspiration, it is a responsibility. And it falls on institutions, governments, and partnerships of exactly the kind gathered in this hall today. As we mark NIUA's 50 years, it is right to look forward as much as we look back. The urban challenges of the next 50 years will be different in kind and in scale. They will demand stronger institutions, sharper knowledge, and the courage to question assumptions and adapt. NIUA, with its experience, its networks, and its multidisciplinary reach, is well placed to meet the demand. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs looks forward to deepen the partnership in the years ahead. I extend my warm congratulations to the Director NIUA, the current and former governing body and governing council members of NIUA, the researchers, the staff, the alumni, and all those who have contributed to NIUA's journey over 5 decades. And to all our guests, once again, a warm welcome. I hope today's discussions will be rich and meaningful as the occasion deserves. Thank you very much.
Today is a special day, not merely because of the years those have passed, but also very much because of the work that has gone in. Thank you very much, sir, for setting the tone for today's celebrations and reminding us of the transformative role that institutions play in nation building. Ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed, the story of NIUA is not merely a chronicle of organizational milestones. It is a story of ideas translated into action, research translated into policy, and vision translated into impact. To reflect upon this remarkable journey and NIUA's contribution to India's urban transformation, I now invite Dr. Debolina Kundu, Director NIUA, to please address the gathering. Ma'am, please join hands as we welcome Dr. Debolina.
Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. P.K. Mishra, Principal Secretary to the Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Srinivas Kathikala, Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Sri Satinder Pal Singh, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, distinguished dignitaries, senior officials from the Government of India and state governments, municipal commissioners, representatives of urban local bodies, development partners, members of academia, industry, civil society, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege and an honor to welcome you all to the Golden Jubilee celebrations of the National Institute of Urban Affairs. At the outset, I would like to express NIUA's sincere gratitude to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs for its continuous guidance, support, and trust over the last 5 decades. As the ministry's premier think tank, NIUA's growth and evolution have been shaped by the minister's vision and leadership. Today, as we celebrate 50 years of NIUA, we do so with a sense of pride, gratitude, and responsibility. Pride in what has been achieved, gratitude to many of the individuals and institutions that have contributed to the journey, and responsibility towards the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead of us. In many ways, the story of NIUA is also the story of urban India. As India's cities have evolved, expanded, and transformed over the past 5 decades, NIUA has evolved alongside them, supporting governments, both state and local, strengthening institutions, generating knowledge, and helping shape the urban development discourse of the country. Throughout its journey, NIUA has served as a bridge between research, policy and practice, knowledge and implementation, as well as national priorities and local realities. Through research, technical assistance, capacity building, innovation, and partnerships, the Institute has supported governments and cities in addressing the opportunities and challenges of India's evolving urban transition. The first phase of NIUA's journey from 1976 to 1990 focused on building the foundations of urban knowledge in India. During this period, NIUA contributed to the National Commission on Urbanization and helped shape national thinking on India's urban future through studies on urban poverty, fiscal stress, and alternative patterns of urbanization. The second phase of NIUA's journey from 1990 to 2005 coincided with a period of significant economic and institutional reforms, including the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. The third phase of NIUA's journey from 2005 to 15 marked the emergence of mission-led urban development in India, including the NIUA, and we also launched and contributed to the high-powered expert committee on estimation of Indian urban infrastructure and services. The fourth phase of NIUA's journey between 2015 and 20 marked a shift from incremental interventions to transformative urban development. This period reflected the growing importance of resilience, sustainability, and inclusion in India's urban agenda, while supporting the centrally sponsored missions, which include the Smart Cities Mission, the Swachh Bharat Mission, the Amrut, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, the National Urban Livelihood Mission, and PM Swanidhi. The fifth and the current phase of NIUA's journey, beginning in 2020, is focused on preparing cities for the future. Today, NIUA is advancing innovative approaches to understanding the new geography of urbanization through modified Digarbha framework, preparing a methodology for calculation of city economic product, contributing to national discussions on urbanization reflected in the publication of the Economic Survey 25-26, strengthening urban fiscal frameworks and supporting balanced urban development through the Small City Initiative with the Niti Aayog. The Institute has also expanded its initiatives on digital governance, urban data systems, climate finance, circular economy approaches, and climate action planning. Several alliances have been established by NIUA, such as the River Cities Alliance, the Livelihood Alliance, the Climate Alliance, and the Hill Cities Forum to facilitate city pairing, peer learning, and knowledge transfer among and across cities. Recently, several research centers have been established under the leadership of our Secretary. Through the Center for Public Policy on Housing and Habitat, we are trying to build a research and policy network among academia, the private sector, the industry, the development partners, the centers of excellence, the planning schools, universities, and think tanks across the country to create a knowledge repository, promote co-creation of knowledge, and strengthen the housing and habitat sector across the country. Also, through the Knowledge Management Unit under Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0, we are trying to capacitate ULB officials on circularity and sustainable sanitation. These initiatives will also enable us to strengthen and nurture the spirit of Team Urban under the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047 as envisaged by our Honorable Prime Minister. NIUA has over the years broadened its engagements with different central ministries like the Ministry of Jal Shakti, the Department of Land Resources, the Department of Posts, various state governments, the various state finance commissions, city governments for providing evidence-based support for urban policy, planning, and governance. Partnerships with international agencies have enabled NIUA to position the institute globally. NIUA remains committed to supporting the journey of Viksit Bharat as a trusted knowledge partner, a center of innovation, and a platform for collaboration. The knowledge products which are being released today and the deliberations across the 9 thematic sessions, which will happen throughout the day, reflect our collective commitment to shaping a resilient, inclusive, and future-ready urban India. The achievements we celebrate today are the collective outcome of 5 decades of vision and dedication. We sincerely thank the Honorable Vice President, the members of the Governing Council, all former directors for their enduring contribution to strengthening NIUA's research and policy legacy, and everyone who has shaped the Institute's remarkable journey over the past 5 decades. As we celebrate this Golden Jubilee, we do so with a sense of gratitude for the past, confidence in the present, and optimism for the future. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am, for reflecting on the strong foundation of NIUA. And as you rightly mentioned, this is a journey of pride in what we have achieved, responsibility for taking these learnings forward, and gratitude to all those who have contributed. As we celebrate this extraordinary milestone, let us now take a visual journey through 5 decades of dedication, innovation, and transformation. We will now see a film titled 50 Years of Shaping India's Urban Transformation. Beginning in 1976, the film traces NIUA's remarkable journey across every decade, highlighting pioneering research, transformative capacity building initiatives, landmark policy interventions, and the institution's enduring contribution to shaping India's urban future. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly direct your attention towards the screen.
In the 1970s, India faced a problem. Cities were emerging faster than anyone could understand. Population was increasing. Infrastructure was failing. The economy was evolving. India grappled with a single question. What did the cities really need? Was it research that explained cities, or policies to build them? India chose both. In 1976, India's leaders made a decision that reshaped how cities think about their future, to redefine urban India and transform governance. This is the story of 50 years of urban policy rigor. This is the National Institute of Urban Affairs. From the very first year, the National Institute of Urban Affairs researched urban planning, governance, and development. These studies were not theoretical exercises. They were a direct response to India's immediate urban challenges. By 1978, the National Institute of Urban Affairs was partnering globally, studying migration, employment, and urban growth patterns. The 1980s became a period of expansion, from strengthening research on housing, transport, municipal finance, and urban poverty, to contributing to the National Commission on Urbanization. We built international collaborations. We shaped India's emerging urban policy frameworks and brought urban policy and research closer to citizens through the Urban India Journal.
In 1992, when India's constitution was being amended, NIUA was drafting frameworks that cities would use to govern themselves.
Shaping national discourse in the 1990s, we explored infrastructure financing and policies focused on urban inclusion and poverty reduction. By the new millennium, the National Institute of Urban Affairs had become one of India's foremost urban policy institutions.
Through JNNURM, we prepared city development plans.
We advanced research on climate resilience, municipal finance, urban land reforms, housing, and capacity building. More importantly, we were building the foundation for the cities of tomorrow.
In the late 2010s, the National Institute of Urban Affairs accelerated India's transition towards smarter, resilient, and inclusive cities. Through research, policy, and capacity building, we supported cities in embracing climate-resilient pathways, sanitation, sustainable infrastructure, and launched a platform for urban collaboration. We established the CIDCO Smart City Lab to build smart cities and expanded our research to ensure our cities are inclusive and accessible to all. From smart data initiatives that build the capacities of urban local bodies to shaping Delhi's future by preparing the master plan Delhi 2041, we were reimagining governance. By 2019, NIUA had evolved from a research institution into a national catalyst for urban transformation. And we're just getting started. Our focus areas over the years have included urbanization and economic growth, climate and resilience, water and environment, waste and sanitation, housing and urban infrastructure, digital governance and data, youth and inclusion, urban governance and municipal finance, urban livelihoods. Over the years, we have contributed to ideas, discussions, policies, and reforms. From national collaborations to international partnerships, our expertise, knowledge, and commitment for a better today and tomorrow have traversed across the globe. In all our experiences, we learned, unlearned, innovated, and relearned to shape and scale our ideas into regional and global practices. Over the decades, our collective resolve remained unwavering, our spirits unscathed, and we marched across because of
As we progress, we are curious, we are learning, we are innovating.
And we are not stopping.
Thank you. What we have just witnessed is more than a historical account. It is a testament to the power of knowledge, collaboration, and visionary leadership. As we celebrate 5 decades of institution building and urban transformation, we now have the privilege of hearing from a leader who has been instrumental in steering India's urban development agenda and strengthening the nation's urban governance framework. Under his stewardship, several transformative initiatives have continued to advance the vision of sustainable, resilient, and citizen centric urban development. I now please invite Shri Srinivas Katikithala, Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, to kindly please present the special address. Ladies and gentlemen, please join hands as we welcome Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Sir.
Honorable Dr. P.K. Mishra ji, Principal Secretary to the Honorable Prime Minister of India, distinguished dignitaries, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege and honor to join you today on the occasion of the Golden Jubilee celebrations of the National Institute of Urban Affairs on a stage that is graced by one of India's foremost public policy experts, Dr. P.K. Mishra ji. We are very grateful, sir, for your kind consideration. I congratulate NIUA on completing 50 years of important contribution towards strengthening India's urban policy ecosystem, governance systems, research, innovation, institutional capacities, etc., under the aegis of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. As India moves towards the vision of Vikasit Bharat at 2047, cities, urban institutions, and knowledge systems will play an increasingly central role in shaping India's economic growth, environmental sustainability, and technological transformation, and all supporting the well-being of its citizens. Today's occasion is, therefore, not only about celebrating an institution, but also about reflecting on the future trajectory of India's urban transformation in an era of rapid urban expansion, technological change, and growing climate uncertainty. Over the past 5 decades, the NIUA has evolved as one of India's leading urban think tank and knowledge institutions supporting the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. It has played an important role in advancing national priorities relating to urban planning, municipal finance, climate resistance, housing, sanitation, mobility, digital governance, sustainable urban development, etc., through research, technical support, and institutional capacity building. Importantly, NIUA has consistently helped us bridge the gap between policy and knowledge and implementation, which remains a critical aspect for managing India's rapidly changing urban systems and in supporting the evidence-based urban transformation. I would therefore here like to acknowledge and thank for the dedication of the entire NIUA team, whose commitment and institutional efforts continue to strengthen India's urban policy and knowledge ecosystem. Friends, as we are aware, India is currently undergoing one of the largest urban transformations ever witnessed in human history. More than 500 million people already live in the urban areas, and India is expected to add another 334 million in the next 15 to 20 years. This is not only unprecedented, but this is truly mind-boggling. So therefore, urbanization today is no longer merely about a demographic transition. It represents a broader structural transformation involving infrastructure systems, regional economies, mobility networks, digital systems, labor markets, and resource flows. Increasingly, urban growth is extending beyond metropolitan cities into peri-urban areas, industrial corridors, census towns, emerging secondary cities, and it is reshaping regional economic integration and settlement patterns across the country. Much of India's future urban transition is likely to occur in smaller cities, intermediate cities, and the rapidly transforming peri-urban areas. These emerging urban spaces will increasingly shape sustainability, inclusivity, resilience of India's urban future, highlighting therefore the need for a stronger regional planning, infrastructure investment, and governance capacities that will reach beyond the currently limiting metropolitan centers. As we all know, India's urban economy is already contributing 60 to 65% to the national GDP. So, therefore, the rapid investments in metro systems, expressways, freight corridors, airports, digital connectivity, etc., are transforming mobility, infrastructure, and economic linkages across India and particularly urban India. As we move towards Vikasit Bharat, urbanization can no longer be viewed merely through the lens of physical expansion. We must therefore focus also on resilience and long term urban adaptability. Urban resilience is not simply a climate adaptation agenda, it is fundamentally linked to the way cities are planned, governed, financed, and managed. It should also be viewed as a broader framework for guiding India's urban transformation. The future of India will therefore depend on how effectively we integrate infrastructure, ecology, governance, technology, finance in this vision of Vikasit Bharat at 2047. Urban development in the future must therefore focus on cities that are climate resilient, resource efficient, technologically enabled, and socially inclusive. These urban transitions will therefore require a whole of government and a whole of society approach, which will strengthen coordination amongst governments, communities, academia, civil society, and private sector actors in addressing the increasingly challenging urban problems. And building these resilient urban future-ready cities will require investments both in infrastructure and in people. India needs a strong multidisciplinary urban cadre and a collective team urban India comprising planners, engineers, climate experts, economists, technologists, and community leaders who are capable of managing these increasingly complex urban systems. I'm therefore happy to mention here that NIUA has established several specialized centers at NIUA and also in the IHSDP of the HUDCO, which include centers such as Center for Public Policy on Housing and Habitat, the Knowledge Management Unit of the Swachh Bharat Mission, and the Center for Sustainable Urban Livelihoods within the NIUA framework. These will strengthen research, policy innovation, capacity building, knowledge support, and other activities for sustaining India's inclusive and resilient urban journey. Friends, as we go forward, I would like to place for your consideration that there are 5 strategic pillars and 3 broad transitions we must transcend and acknowledge. The pillars are resilient infrastructure systems first, second, ecological sustainability, third, adaptive governance and stronger municipal finance systems, fourth, inclusive urban development, and finally, knowledge systems. With these 5 pillars, we also will be undertaking 3 broad transitions. The first transition is towards building institutional and ecological foundations during the current decade. And second, accelerating a structural urban transformation in the ensuing years thereafter. And finally, achieving adaptive, climate responsive, and future ready urban systems by the time we reach Vikasit Bharat 2047. As we move there, the real measure of urban progress will not only be in the scale of urban expansion, but in the way in which we manage this transition, in the resilience and the inclusiveness that will support urban life in our country. I am also pleased that today we will be witness to the release of an important publication, the Vision for a Resilient Urban India, which marks the beginning of Urban India 2047 strategic and reference series. Forthcoming volumes include NIUA's Vision for Urban India, Reflections from Policy and Practice, and the third volume celebrates NIUA's 50 years journey. Before I conclude, I would also like to mention here that under the guidance of the Honorable Prime Minister and the Mission Karmayogi, the various centers of excellence of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs have put together a path-breaking certification program, which today we are now, the first of these programs is a certificate program with 40 hours of learning and 3 credits. And this will strengthen the capacities of urban managers. And therefore, here we have today close to 283 graduates who have participated and successfully completed this program. And I congratulate all of them for having undergone this training and for joining this very important select set of urban managers in India. And in conclusion, I would like to congratulate the National Institute of Urban Affairs on completing 50 years of an important journey, for your contributions, and extend my best wishes for its continued role in shaping India's urban transformation journey. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Your insightful address has underscored the pivotal role of institutions such as NIUA in shaping the urban future of our nation. As India moves towards the aspiration of Viksit Bharat 2047, the urban sector shall undoubtedly remain one of the most powerful engines of national progress. Ladies and gentlemen, today as NIUA commemorates 50 years of distinguished service to the nation, we're deeply honored by the presence of a statesman, administrator, and visionary leader whose contributions to public policy and governance have left an enduring imprint on India's development trajectory. Dr. P.K. Mishra has varied work experience in the management of programs relating to agriculture, disaster management, power sector, infrastructure financing, and regulatory issues, and has an outstanding career profile comprising research, publications, policy formulation, and program management. Dr. Mishra has a PhD in Economics and Development Studies from the University of Sussex. As the Principal Secretary to the Honorable Prime Minister of India, he has played a pivotal role in guiding transformative national initiatives and advancing India's development aspirations. In 2019, he was conferred a prestigious UN Award for Disaster Management and Disaster Risk Reduction. It is now my honor to please invite and request Dr. P.K. Mishra to please present the keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, with a big round of applause, we welcome our chief guest, Dr. P.K. Mishra, to please address the audience.
Sri K. Srinivas, Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Srimati Devolina Kundu, Director, NIU, officials from central and state government, academic institutions, civil service organizations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I also see some of my former colleagues and friends, including Sri Ramachandran and other colleagues, Samir Sharma and others. It's nice to see all of you here. I am delighted to join you today to commemorate the 50 years of the National Institute of Urban Affairs. In fact, before this program, I spent some time in the exhibition outside, showing how the NIU has evolved over the last 50 years. When I saw that it was set up in the year 1976, and I could see that even 50 years ago, there was a thinking that urban development is a discipline which needs to be focused, research, analysis, and so on. In that time, I remember that in the year 1977, a very well researched and but widely discussed and widely acclaimed book written by Michael Lipton was published, and the title of the book was Why Poor People Stay Poor, a study of urban bias in world development. In fact, while analyzing world development those days, he thought there is an urban bias, and that's why rural people stay poor. But today, probably we can say, last 1 or 2 decades, that there has been in our whole development effort a rural bias, probably, because very often now we see that rural areas, many schemes, many structures are well organized, but urban, when we look at urban poor, when we look at urban health system, so it was really visionary to set up NIUA 50 years ago. This milestone today is not only an occasion to celebrate an institution, but also an opportunity to reflect on India's urban transformation and the path ahead as we move forward to achieve our goal of Viksit Bharat, envisioned by our Prime Minister. India's development journey today is defined by confidence, aspiration, and unprecedented transformation across infrastructure, technology, governance, and urbanization. As we look back, the role of NIUA during the last 50 years, NIUA has played an important role in contributing to knowledge, policy, and implementation. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has supported and nurtured the NIUA. I compliment both the organizations. NIUA has contributed significantly to shaping India's urban discourse, strengthening institutional capacities, and supporting cities through evolving development transition. NIUA's journey reflects India's broader evolution from a focus on service delivery towards building integrated, technology-enabled, data-driven, climate-sensitive, and resilient urban system. This moment is therefore not only about celebrating the past, but also about preparing for the opportunities and responsibilities that will shape India's urban future. Because today we need not only look back what we have done, but we need to see how we can prepare ourselves to face the future challenges, and at the same time also see how there are so many opportunities. India today stands at an extraordinary moment in its development journey with rapid economic growth, expanding infrastructure, digital transformation, innovation, and urbanization creating opportunities at an unprecedented scale. India's progress in digital public infrastructure, financial inclusion, renewable energy, logistics, and public service delivery has demonstrated both capability and confidence in managing large-scale transformation under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister. As we have seen, there is a lot of discussion about digital public infrastructure. It is very difficult to imagine a situation when the direct benefit transfer was a very challenging task, so much of leakages. But as we see today, with the click of a button, huge amount can be transferred. For example, in the PM Kisan or many other schemes, within a second, the benefits are transferred to about 800 million people at the same time because of the technology. And today, even with the mobile phone, within a second, one can transfer money. And the number of digital transactions today is really mind-boggling, which is acclaimed across the world. The focus now must be on ensuring that this transformation remains inclusive, sustainable, resilient, and future-ready, with resilience increasingly becoming the guiding principle of development and governance. In this context, I would like to say that the nature of risk is also changing. As societies become interconnected and dynamic, the nature of risks and vulnerabilities is evolving with climate events, public health emergencies, technological disruption, economic stresses, and resource pressures increasingly interacting across systems and geographies. As we saw the COVID-19 pandemic, it was unprecedented in the sense that at the same time the entire world was engulfed. When a major disaster occurs, it affects a country, a part of a country, a part of some system. But here it affected the whole world. So that's how the nature of risk is also changing. The recent Climate Risk Index of 2026, released by the German Watch at COP30 in Belém, Brazil, highlights the increasing scale and severity of climate-related risk confronting the world and India. Between 1995 and 2024, more than 9,700 extreme weather events caused over 832,000 deaths globally and economic losses exceeding US dollar 4.5 trillion. During the same period, India recorded nearly 430 extreme weather events affecting around 1.3 billion people and causing economic losses of nearly US dollar 170 billion. As more people will be living in urban areas, cities are increasingly at the forefront of climate crisis, such as heat waves, floods, drought, cyclone, sea level rise, and infrastructure stress, disproportionately affecting vulnerable and low-income population dependent on climate-sensitive livelihood. It has been well established that it is the poor people, it is the disadvantaged who are more vulnerable and who face the brunt of various types of hazards more than other people. Recent global experiences, including the COVID-19 pandemic, have demonstrated that disruptions are no longer isolated or temporary. They can cascade rapidly across sectors, institutions, economies, requiring systems that are coordinated, adaptive, and resilient under stress. This requires us to think differently about development itself, where resilience must be understood as the capacity to anticipate, absorb, adapt, transform, and increasingly build anti-fragile system that emerged stronger through uncertainty and change. I would like to highlight the word anti-fragile because it was brought out this concept by Taleb in a book of 2012. It says that when it is beyond resilience, a resilient system copes with a disaster, whereas an anti-fragile system become stronger in the case of challenges and uncertainty. We need to develop a new paradigm. The evolving realities require a new development paradigm that is integrated, adaptive, and forward looking. This shift has been recognized globally through frameworks such as the Sustainable Development Goal, the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, and the Paris Climate Agreement, which India has also demonstrated through initiatives such as Mission Life, Digital India, and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Coincidentally, all these three major agreements, which are very, very comprehensive, the Sustainable Development Goal, the Sendai Framework, and the Paris Climate Agreement, all these three actually were declared and finalized in the year 2015. Subsequently, of course, India has gone ahead with initiatives, including the CDRI, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, and of course, the International Solar Alliance. Together, these efforts underline the need for governance systems that can integrate economic growth, environmental sustainability, social inclusion, and resilience within a common development framework. Because what I'm trying to say that when we talk about resilience, when we talk about risk reduction, it has to be mainstreamed. It has to be a part of our normal developmental plans and activities. Traditional approaches often focus on restoring systems after disruption, on bouncing back. The emerging paradigm requires systems that can learn, adapt, and emerge stronger through disruption, moving towards bouncing forward and increasingly building anti-fragile systems. The objective today is not only recovery, but building stronger institutions, infrastructure, and governance systems capable of managing future shocks and uncertainties. In other words, we need to be much stronger as we face challenges, and we have to have an adaptive capacity that challenges, problems make us stronger, and we become more capable of facing future challenges. In this context, I would like to say that urbanization or urban development is at the core of our transformation. Because those days when it was talked about, as I mentioned, urban bias, now we need to see that when more than half of the population will be in urban areas, urban development has to be core of our whole approach. India's urbanization represents one of the greatest opportunities for economic growth, innovation, productivity, and improved quality of life. The story of Viksit Bharat will, to a large extent, be shaped through the transformation of the cities. India's cities are engines of economic growth, entrepreneurship, talent, and innovation. And managing this transition effectively will require careful planning, infrastructure investment, environmental stewardship, and strong institutional coordination. Flagship initiatives such as the Smart Cities Mission, Amrit, Swachh Bharat Mission, and PMAY Urban have laid a strong foundation for improving urban infrastructure, service delivery, livability, and urban resilience. As cities remain at the forefront of climate-related stresses, future urban development must focus on proactive planning, nature-based solutions, green infrastructure, and sustainable urban systems to build resilient, inclusive, and climate-sensitive cities. Urban challenges such as housing, water, transport, environment, energy, and livelihood are deeply interconnected and require system-based and resilient governance rather than sectoral approaches. Building resilience depends on strong institutional architecture, clear roles, and coordination across centers, states, and urban local bodies. Strengthening urban local bodies, particularly in municipal finance, planning, implementation, and service delivery, is essential for creating capable, accountable, and resilient institutions. Governance in the 21st century must be increasingly data-driven, real-time, evidence-based, and resilient. India's digital public infrastructure, as I have already mentioned, and technology-driven initiatives have significantly improved transparency, efficiency, citizen-centric governance, and institutional resilience. Data must be treated as a core public infrastructure, while emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, geospatial systems, predictive analytics, and digital platforms will play an increasingly important role in strengthening resilient urban systems and governance. It is in this context that capacity building is extremely important. Building resilient and future-ready cities will require skilled professionals, stronger institutions, continuous learning, and investments in planning, governance, technology, and service delivery systems. Urban development must remain inclusive by ensuring access to housing, basic services, mobility, and livelihoods, particularly for the urban poor, migrants, women, and youth. This requires a whole of the government, as Sri Srinivas also mentioned, and whole of society approach, bringing together governments, academia, private sector institutions, civil society, and communities. In this context, institutions like the NIUA continue to play a critical role in knowledge creation, capacity building, and innovation. So far, I have outlined several, and of course, others have also done so, several issues, challenges, and ideas for urban transformation. I would like to emphasize that we have ideas, we have experiences, we have knowledge. What is, however, important and much more challenging that we need to retrospect and analyze why all these ideas and insights are actually not possible, not implemented on the ground. Why is it that in spite of the ideas we talk so much about, whether it is rural development, urban development, actually on the field, on the ground, it becomes difficult to reflect how to enable field-level institutions in urban, semi-urban, and peri-urban areas, and also entities to effectively bring about changes and transformation. The issues of implementation and effective delivery of services need deeper research. Because we see people always talk about this can be done, this should be done, but the question always is how it can be done, why it is not being done. I think these are some of the challenges which possibly should be focus of research also. There are, of course, issues of capacity building, for example, in the municipalities, the capacity of the professionals, knowledge, there are also questions. I remember during the Gujarat earthquake, when a lot of issues were raised about the buildings, the building permissions, issues of why buildings are not disaster resilient. That time it was discovered, of course, I am talking about 20 years ago, that even those days we had the best of building codes. We had the best of standards that time also, comparatively, of course. But the whole issue was when the building permission is given, when the structure is approved, the capability of the engineers, that was an issue. Even if somebody is well-meaning, so in those days, I think in those days, I remember that in the engineering college syllabus, civil engineering, structural engineering was not getting as much focus. The other problem was that building bylaws were there. Even now, of course, a lot of efforts have been made by the Urban Development Ministry and others preparing model bylaws. But ultimately, the model bylaws are to be reflected in the municipal bylaws and also the municipal processes and procedures. So that is how we have to see how to implement things on the ground. And now, of course, every one of us talk about Viksit Bharat. By 2047, India's cities must be economically productive, environmentally sustainable, socially inclusive, technologically advanced, and institutionally resilient. The aspiration of Viksit Bharat is not only to build a larger economy, but to build a nation that is more prepared, more inclusive, and more capable of navigating uncertainties with confidence. India's development pathway must therefore move beyond resilience towards building adaptive and anti-fragile systems that not only withstand disruptions but also become stronger through change in the midst of uncertainty. Finally, before I conclude, I would like to have a few words. NIUA has completed 50 years serving as a national platform for knowledge, innovation, research, and collaboration. As India moves towards Viksit Bharat in 2047, the task before us is continuous strengthening of institutions, systems, and development pathways that are adaptive, inclusive, and resilient. This vision aligns with India's broader development trajectory under the guidance of our Prime Minister, who is now the longest serving democratically elected Prime Minister of India, as we work collectively towards a resilient, sustainable, and developed India by 2047. I am sure with its experience, insight, and knowledge, the NIUA will continue to play a very important role in improving our urban systems and in ensuring that cities become really the engines of growth for a future developed India by 2047. Thank you.
Urban development is at the core of our transformation. Thank you very much, sir, for your guiding words. Your visionary insights have not only enriched today's celebration, but have also provided a compelling roadmap for the future of India's urban transformation. Distinguished guests, one of NIUA's most enduring contributions over the past 50 years has been its role as a creator, curator, and disseminator of knowledge. Research, evidence, innovation, and capacity building have been at the heart of NIUA's mission. It is therefore particularly fitting that on this historic occasion, we witness the release of a set of landmark knowledge products that will contribute significantly to India's urban discourse and practice. The first book that we will release is a special publication on vision for a resilient urban India, building sustainable and future-ready cities. A central theme of the volume is that resilient urban development cannot be achieved through government action alone. It requires a whole of government and a whole of society approach together. A forward-looking publication that explores pathways for creating cities that are adaptive, inclusive, anti-fragile, and prepared for emerging challenges. Edited by the National Institute of Urban Affairs, the publication brings together contributions from 28 distinguished experts representing government, academia, and leading think tanks. The opening chapter is authored by Dr. P.K. Mishra, which presents the pathways and strategies for resilient urban development of the country and contribute to the realization of the national vision for 2047. May I please invite our chief guest, Dr. P.K. Mishra ji, and the other distinguished dignitaries on the dais to kindly join us for the release ceremony. Thank you. We now have the next release, Understanding the New Geography of India's Urbanization, a Geospatial Approach. It is a pioneering study that provides fresh perspectives on India's rapidly evolving urban landscape through the lens of geospatial analytics. This release is titled Understanding the New Geography of India's Urbanization, a Geospatial Approach. We will now move forward to the launch of NULP as the urban arm of IGOT. It is a significant milestone in strengthening technical capacity building ecosystems and fostering continuous learning among urban professionals across the country. This integration will utilize the national scale of Karmayogi Bharat and the urban knowledge base of NIUA. Let us take a look at a video before we move to the release of the courses.
A new chapter for urban India begins with a hybrid learning framework designed to empower the urban engineering and technical professionals through continuous, accessible, and practical learning. Introducing an integrated learning initiative that will help urban local bodies, state PWDs, and parastatals strengthen technical skills, access institutional expertise, and apply practical knowledge to serve their cities better. As part of a strategic partnership between the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, National Institute of Urban Affairs, and Karmayogi Bharat, the National Urban Learning Platform will serve as the urban instance of IGOT. Together, IGOT and NULP will combine national scale with urban sector depth, creating a unified learning platform for urban engineering and technical professionals. The initiative will follow a hybrid learning approach combining online and offline components. Online technical training will be delivered on the integrated NULP IGOT platform, and offline or in-person training through centers of excellence and partner institutions will address the specific technical needs of urban local bodies, state PWDs, and parastatals through hands-on technical courses, personalized training sessions, and practical field-level applications. These trainings will help urban engineering and technical professionals contextualize online learning, strengthen implementation skills, and apply technical knowledge directly to local urban challenges. Assessment and certification for the complete hybrid training program will be conducted online through the integrated NULP IGOT platform. A digital training passbook will record the complete hybrid learning journey of the participants and will be available online on the platform. The program will offer demand-driven training, digital tools, and state-level support for practical, accessible, and need-based technical capacity building. Technical capacity building is an investment in the future of India's cities. Empower yourself. Empower your city.
I now request our Chief Guest Dr. P.K. Mishra ji to kindly press the remote button and launch the 4 new technical courses on the NULP IGOT platform. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. These technical courses are on Building Information Modeling, developed by CPWD in collaboration with IIT Palakkad, Civil Construction and Project Management, developed by CPWD in collaboration with National Institute of Construction Management and Research, Delhi NCR, 24/7 Water Supply Management, developed by CPHEEO in collaboration with Administrative Staff College of India, Hyderabad, and Used Water Management, developed by CPHEEO in collaboration with CPWD National Training Academy. We will now release NIUA Coffee Table Book, 50 Years of Shaping India's Urban Transformation, a commemorative publication capturing 5 remarkable decades of ideas, innovation, partnerships, and contributions that have helped shape urban India. May I please request our chief guest and the dignitaries to kindly release the coffee table book. 50 Years of Shaping India's Urban Transformation. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir, and distinguished dignitaries on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, knowledge finds its highest purpose when it is shared, applied, and translated into impact. As we celebrate 50 years of institution building, it is equally important to recognize those who will carry this legacy forward, the next generation of urban practitioners and leaders. It is now time to honor professionals who have successfully completed the Urban Renaissance Tech Program, a flagship initiative aimed at preparing Team Urban for Viksit Bharat. This is a part of the Team Urban initiative under the visionary guidance of the Honorable Prime Minister. Those who are graduating today will be a part of the Team Urban for Viksit Bharat 2047. The Urban Renaissance Tech Program, launched by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, represents a transformative effort to strengthen the techno-managerial capacities of India's urban professionals. Before we move forward, may I please take the opportunity of requesting and inviting Srimati D. Thara, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, to kindly enlighten us on this. Ma'am.
Thank you. Just a small introduction about this program. This is an urban renaissance tech program. The word renaissance was used with a lot of thought in it. It's about intellectual revival. Sir talked about how and why things are not being done. Everybody says this should be done. The biggest gap is how do you integrate the knowledge in the people who are actually working on the field to bring out the outcomes what we want. The anti-fragile systems are about creating new paradigms and not about, actually we cannot handle this urbanization with a regular business as usual approach. Because we started with 6 crore in 1951 and we reached 50 crore in 2021, and by 2047 we will reach 84 crores. Means the delta of 75 years will be added in the next 20 years. It's unimaginable kind of urbanization which is going to happen. In that context, the government of India had supported 4 centers of excellence through a proper competition approach, and we have 4 centers of excellence today in urban planning and design and infrastructure projects. And these have, they together, the first and foremost important thing is these centers are NIT, Calicut, Kharagpur, IIT, CEPT and SPA Delhi. The first time all these 4 academic institutions together designed a program, foundation program of 16 hours in person and 24 hours online, blended program, where the professionals had to do a capstone project. This capstone project is with academic rigor and practical relevance. So we have projects ranging from creating a buffer around the river to creating how do you create compared to climate action plans to various other applicable capstone projects. There were few more people who added, but only people who had completed with that kind of rigor have been given the certificate. Out of the 283 people, we have 100 people here. And I would only say that these people, it's a beginning of around 10,000 cohort, which has been announced by Secretary Sir, that 10,000 such people will be prepared who will have the capability to conceive a project, structure it, finance it, design the finance, and also integrate the planning, resilience, finance, and execution designs, including contract management, is one of the knowledge products which has been given in this course. I have all the directors of the centers of excellence here and the people who are going to get that. There's a small movie of 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and then we have the convocation. Thank you.
The Urban Renaissance Tech Program for Urban Managers was officially launched on the 17th of July 2025 by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India, in the presence of the Honorable Minister Shri Manohar Lal Khattar, Shri Tokhan Sahu and Secretary Shri Katikithala Srinivas. Today, India stands at the forefront of an unprecedented urban transformation. From smart mobility and digital governance to sustainable infrastructure and resilient urban growth, the future of India is being shaped in its cities. And shaping that future requires a new generation of urban managers. Conceived and spearheaded by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India, the Urban Renaissance Tech Program is a landmark 3-credit flagship initiative.
Urban Renaissance Tech Program is a two-way learning journey of sharing knowledge and creating competencies where urbanization evolves on city identities and its inherent potential.
It links academic insights with real-world urban challenges which ULB officials are required to handle.
Participants bring live city-specific problems on table and discuss with experts from all 4 COE.
And through immersive learning, expert guidance, field exposure, and collaborative discussions, transform those problems into practical, implementable solutions.
The Urban Renaissance Tech Program brought together experts from the 4 centers of excellence in urban planning and design: School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi Center for Environment Planning and Technology University, Ahmedabad, National Institute of Technology, Calicut, and the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, to deliver an intensive practice-oriented learning pathway. The program begins with an immersive 16-hour foundation course, followed by a 24-hour specialized elective course. Modules covered a wide range of urban development themes, including water supply, sewerage and drainage systems, planning for hill towns, municipal contracts, financing cities, climate-resilient urban design, AI-enabled digital twins, disaster risk reduction, development management, land use planning, GIS, and transportation planning. At the heart of URTP lies its dynamic capstone project experience, transforming classroom learning into impactful real-world solutions, driving change at the city level. URTP has brought together 283 participants from across India. Now, let us take a moment to reflect on the experiences of some of the participants of URTP, including officials from urban local bodies, development authorities, and smart cities, along with consultants, academicians, and other urban professionals. This diversity reflects URTP's relevance and its growing appeal across India's urban ecosystem, because the cities of tomorrow will be shaped by leaders who are prepared today. Be one of them.
The cities of tomorrow will be shaped by leaders who are prepared today. So be one of them. Thank you. The film beautifully illustrates how investment in human capital remains one of the strongest foundations of nation building. We now move to the convocation ceremony. May I please request the graduating participants present in the hall to kindly be ready as the respective cohorts are announced. We also acknowledge and congratulate the rest of the graduates who have joined us online today. We invite the directors of 4 Centers of Excellence of Urban Planning to join us on stage. Dr. Subrat Chattopadhyay from IIT Kharagpur. On behalf of Shri Virendra Kumar Paul from School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi, we have Ms. Sumedha joining us. Shri P.P. Anil Kumar from NIT Calicut. And on behalf of Srimati Mona Iyer, we have Shri Shubhrangshu Goswami from CEPT University joining us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we begin with cohort 1. Participants who have completed specialized electives on development, management and urban planning. May I request the participants of cohort 1 to kindly please join us on stage for the photograph. This cohort on revitalization of cities and urban planning, curated by IIT Kharagpur under the Centers of Excellence, highlights the importance of development management, where planning meets execution to create sustainable and well-managed urban spaces. Let us give them a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. These are the participants who have completed specialized electives on development management in urban planning. To reaffirm this cohort on revitalization of cities and urban planning, curated by IIT Kharagpur under the Centers of Excellence, highlights the importance of development management, where planning meets execution to create sustainable and well-managed urban spaces. Many congratulations, a round of applause. Thank you very much. We now move to cohort 2. The participants who have completed specialized electives on development management in urban planning and transit-oriented development. Participants of cohort 2 are requested to join us on stage for the photograph. We request you to come forward. This cohort on revitalization of cities and urban planning, curated by IIT Kharagpur under the Centers of Excellence, highlights the importance of development management, where planning meets execution. And we once again appreciate their achievements with a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, तालियों के साथ अभिनंदन. We now move to cohort 3. Participants who have completed specialized electives on planning legislation with focus on master planning and land use planning. Participants of cohort 3 are requested to come forward for the photograph, please. We have participants of cohort 3 who have come forward for the photograph. These participants have specialized electives on planning legislation with focus on master planning and land use planning. Thank you very much. We now move to the next cohort, Cohort 4. Participants who have completed specialized electives on GIS and digital planning tools and municipal finance and municipal contract management. May I please request the participants of Cohort 4 to please come forward for the photo opportunity. Participants who have completed specialized electives on GIS and digital planning tools and municipal finance and municipal contract management. This cohort, curated by CEPT, Ahmedabad and IIT Kharagpur under the Centers of Excellence, where participants built skills in GIS and digital planning tools, along with municipal and municipal contract management to support data-driven and financially sustainable urban development. Congratulations to all the participants. A huge round of applause for the graduating participants. तालियों के साथ बधाई देते हैं इन्हें. After this photo opportunity of Cohort 4, we now move forward, finally to Cohort 5. Participants who have completed specialized electives on urban infrastructure and climate and disaster resilience. Participants of Cohort 5, may we please request you to come forward for the photograph. This cohort, curated by NIT Calicut and School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi, under the Centers of Excellence, where participants strengthened capabilities in climate resilience, disaster risk management, and AI-enabled planning, along with sustainable water management and resilient urbanization in hill towns. A huge round of applause for our final cohort. To reiterate, these are the participants who have completed specialized electives on urban infrastructure and climate and disaster resilience. Thank you very much. Many congratulations to all the participants for this unique learning experience, which will enable them towards effectively shaping the future of our cities. Thank you, directors of Centers of Excellence, and thank you, dignitaries. Thank you to the directors of Centers of Excellence, and thank you, dignitaries. As we come to the close of this inaugural session, it is my privilege to once again invite Dr. Debolina Kundu, Director, National Institute of Urban Affairs, to kindly propose the formal vote of thanks. Ma'am.
It is indeed a great honor and privilege to extend a vote of thanks on this momentous occasion. I extend my sincere gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. P.K. Mishra, Principal Secretary to the Honorable Prime Minister, for gracing this occasion and delivering an inspiring keynote address. Your insights, sir, on India's urban transformation and pathways towards resilient Viksit Bharat have provided valuable directions to all of us engaged in shaping the future of our cities. I express my sincere gratitude to Sri Srinivas Katikithala, Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, for his continued guidance and support to NIUA in evidence-based research, policy discourse, and institutional capacity building for urban development of the country. I would also like to thank Madam D. Thara, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, for her guidance and support to NIUA, and Sri Satinder Pal Singh, Vice President, National Institute of Urban Affairs and Additional Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, for his leadership and support to NIUA on a regular basis. We are honored to have witnessed the release of a few important knowledge products that reflect our commitment to generate evidence, strengthen capacities, and support policy innovation for urban India. These milestones reflect not only our achievements of the past, but also our aspirations. I would like to acknowledge the support and cooperation of officers from the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and other national, state, and local governments, our partners, including the multilateral and bilateral agencies, academic and research institutions, our partners in the research space, the civil society organizations, and the private sector. NIUA's journey over the past 5 decades has been shaped by your trust, collaboration, and shared commitment to building better cities of today and tomorrow. I would also like to place on record the support of HUDCO and NBCC, our partner organizations, in organizing this event. I am thankful to all the dignitaries and participants who have joined us today. Your gracious presence has made this celebration truly meaningful. I would also like to thank the NIUA team, the MOHUA team, and the ITDC team who has worked tirelessly to make this event successful. Today's event is just the inauguration of a series of celebrations which will continue throughout the year. I would request the gracious presence of all of you in the upcoming events as well. With these words, I once again thank all the distinguished guests on the desk and in the audience for being part of NIUA's Golden Jubilee celebrations and look forward to engaging discussions during the first technical session and the remaining 8 parallel sessions which are planned throughout the day. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, with that we conclude the inaugural session of the National Institute of Urban Affairs Golden Jubilee celebrations. The morning has offered us an opportunity to celebrate a remarkable legacy, reflect upon the transformative journey of urban India, and reaffirm our collective commitment towards building resilient and future-ready cities. We will now break for tea and networking, but may I please request everyone to kindly remain seated till our dignitaries leave the plenary hall. May I please request everyone to kindly stay back for another 2 minutes? We will all be reconvening at 12 noon sharp for technical session 1 on urban governance and institutional mechanisms towards resilient city economic regions in this plenary hall. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now we will break for tea and reassemble at 12 noon for the first technical session. The exhibition area will remain open during the break, and we encourage all participants to kindly please take a look at the exhibition area as well. We request you to kindly reassemble at 12 noon sharp for the first technical session. Thank you.